All right, all right. We're about to get started here in just a moment, and we are live with This Week in Supervision. And as usual, I have a whole bunch to package in as I update you on some of the things that we did in supervision this week. And it was very exciting. I still have another group to do next week, so it kind of carries over. So I get the opportunity to try this again. But what we did is to switch things up every now and then. We'll break out into groups, okay? And we broke out into groups, and I want to start and bounce back a little bit concerning what we'll be talking about, because we have an interesting topic that we'll be talking about, right? And the topic is when someone's face reminds me of trauma. When someone's face When someone's face reminds you of trauma. Have you ever had someone's face to remind you of trauma? The crazy thing is that the face may not look just like the face that you saw, but sometimes the expressions, the tones, the body language, the sound actually reminds us of trauma. Okay. And so this is what we're experiencing with our clients many times when we're trying to help them to overcome hurdles that they experience while in relationships. And so that's what we talked about today, being able to support your client with these concerns. And we're going to go on and jump right in because we don't want to be too long. Um, and so we're going to start off. What we did was we broke off into groups. I had a couple test questions, one or two. I think I had maybe one test question. Then I presented the scenario, and then we broke off into groups. And what I introduced was a case. I don't know if y'all been watching Netflix. But Netflix has a series on The Biggest Loser, and The Biggest Loser was a show many years ago. Some of y'all, I don't know if y'all are even alive, but it was many years ago. And this show was about individuals who were trying to lose weight. It was a competition to lose weight. Well, there was an exchange in one of the episodes, and that is what we highlighted in this supervision right here. So I'm going to go on and play the clip for you so you can you kind of see what I'm talking about here, and and then we'll take it from there. Now, what I want you to do, and this is what I did too. I had the supervisees I wanted them to get in the mindset of being able to understand what the presenting problem is. And that's for the two characters. So if any of them were to come into your office, what would be the presenting problem that you might work with this particular person? Okay. And then we want to be thinking in the mindset of interventions and treatment. That's kind of at the end, but we cover some things in between as well. But let me go on and get over to the video here. This could be a little triggering for some people. There's a bit of an exchange between the two characters, but I'm going to go on and show it and allow for you all to try to give your perspective mentally about what you think is going on here and why these two end up in the mess that they're in right here. Okay.
We have a 30-second sprint, 6.5.
Start it over just to make sure I push the share. I mean the sound. Here we go. Yeah. All right.
Joelle, yes? One more time.
Believe in yourself.
That's right.
Trust the process.
Change forever.
Amen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That's it. Good. Everybody looks good. Do not be sloppy. Finish this strong, Joelle. No, Joelle, don't do it. Don't do it. Dig, Joelle, dig. 10. Joelle. 4, 3, 2, 1. What the Joelle? Every single time at 20 seconds. Every time. What is it? What is it? Tell me what it is.
I am trying to giving you.
No, you're not. You stop at 20 seconds every time. Every time. What is it?
I'm giving you my best.
No, you're not. You stop at 20 seconds every single time. What is it? Because I've got 6 other people here that want to be here that keep pushing outside of the box. What is it?
I'm pushing.
No, you're not. Don't say it. Don't say you're pushing, because you're not. You're stopping every single time.
I'm not stopping. I never left.
Every single
You
time.
asked for
No,
6
then do
points.
it. Do it now, okay? Everyone goes for 30 seconds. You don't come off for 30 seconds, okay? That's all I'm asking. Just do that. God!
I have never seen Bob that mad. Ever. He's never gone that mad? Never.
In 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Twenty seconds to go. 15 seconds. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, no! 3, 2, 1! Nope, that wasn't it.
Focus, Joelle. Focus. You can do this.
Stop thinking of yourself, think of us.
I'm giving you what I got. I am
I don't
doing.
hear it. I don't want to hear it.
It wasn't 20 seconds, Bob.
Oh, it was 25.
I wasn't.
I'm asking for 30 seconds.
And I'm giving you what I got, okay?
Give me more. I need more.
And I'm doing it.
Do it.
It might not be what you want. I'm trying as best as I can.
How about
I am.
you? How about you? Are you
I
trying?
am not them.
Do
They
it.
are not my measure. I am my measure. And I do 6.5 and 20 is good. Because I've
I
never
want you
done
to
it,
do 30
and I want
seconds.
to do it more. I'm not trying to quit. I'm not
Well, then
trying
do
to
it,
quit.
Joelle. Stop saying all these words. Quit talking. I'm sick of just words, words, words. Talk, talk, talk. Shut the up. Just do it. Just stop talking and do it. Don't say one more word. Just do it. 30 seconds. Just do it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good. 15 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Everyone press stop on the floor right here.
All right. All right. All right. We're gonna end that. Okay. Quite an exchange here between the two of them, huh? What is it that you observed in this dynamic if you were to put it into words? What is going badly wrong with Bob and Joelle? Do you see it that it's one person versus not so much one person versus the other, or like whose fault is this? I mean, right off the top, I can say that Bob was very dysregulated, and it was really sad how awful he was speaking to Joelle and how he berated her in front of everybody. There's a bigger story to it, but this is the thing. At no point are we supposed to this is a part of being regulated, right? And this is where we start to find the challenges when working with clients who can't effectively be in relationships. Bob, I don't think he was like this the whole show. I don't think he was losing it the whole show, but it was something about Joelle. As a matter of fact, it seems as though Bob took a special interest in Joelle. Okay. He really wanted to help Joelle, but for some reason, he didn't feel like he could successfully do that. And it triggered him. Him also being triggered, as you can see, triggered Joelle. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit about this exchange because what is it that attracts two people into this kind of loop? Like I said, Bob was taking extra attention to her. Think about, have you thought about like, or would you have you thought like why might Bob be taking such extra attention into supporting Joelle in this particular situation? It's something to think about. It's something to think about. And what's interesting is that often there is an attraction, or for a lack of a better term, to our experiences. The things that we think that we see on the surface, there's something that lies beneath. There was something in Bob's experience that made him want to cling to support Joelle, but then her not being able to show up, no matter how much he put his efforts out, it seemed to trigger him in a way that took him outside of what he had expected probably that he would do at that show. And then it made Joelle feel a certain type of way that likely was familiar to her. And we're going to show a picture of her in a moment. Oh boy, we got to move. We're already at 10 minutes. Okay. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about this a little bit. Um so I'm going to show you what I did is when the group broke into when we had the group break up into the breakout sessions, I gave them a few questions to ask themselves. And I'm going to put it up here. All right. And so some of them case Bob, some of them case Joelle. And these were the questions. What is the presenting problem for Bob? We have to have a targeted problem that we're going to approach intervention or we're going to create interventions for, right? So we have to have that. Why is Bob so upset and dysregulated? What is Bob's likely childhood experience here? Okay. Why is Bob so emotionally vested in Joelle? And what are the treatment goals? So we had them break up and talk about that. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start with Bob. If you were to think about what some of the presenting problems are with Bob, what would you see as you think about the display of Bob? What's problematic here? Okay. And so we had an exchange and allowed the supervisees to give an exchange about that. So what is the presenting problem? Bob obviously has explosive anger, verbal aggression, and is dysregulated under stress. It's probably a lot of stress and tension because he's trying to win that show, but he's also trying to help someone that he doesn't, in his mind, he doesn't feel that she's putting forth the best effort. Identity and worth uh may be tied into external performances for Bob. Okay. We don't want to go that far just yet, but what we do see is that Bob is seriously activated by Joelle. Okay? So that's a problem that we need to treat. Bob he mentions okay, so let's look at another question. Why is Bob so upset and dysregulated? What's going on that upsets Bob? What are some of Bob's triggers? Okay. Well, it's possible that he interprets Joel's struggle as failure, uh, and that may make him feel inadequate. Okay. It looks as though he's seeing her, when you hear the exchanges that Joelle is inconsistent. That's a trigger for him. And she makes excuses. That's a trigger for Bob. But why does that bother you so much, Bob? Why are you pissed off? Because Joelle's is making excuses. There are other people possibly that could have been looked at that were not stepping up to the table, or perhaps the rest of the group was. But Joelle is not stepping up. And why can't we just move past this? There's something about this experience, and this is the thing that we have to check off when we're working with clients. We have to try to understand what is it that's provoking you into these situations where you find yourself being dysregulated. And so we would talk to Bob about that. What's triggering him, and what is Bob's core belief? This is an important thing. Well, it's important to try to understand what core beliefs are about clients. You are the one that has to assess that, and this is what we teach in supervision is ways that you can just get little bits of information and be able to identify that. But it's possible that one of Bob's core beliefs is if I can't make her succeed, then I'm failing. Why is it so important to him? Okay. I even imagine a scenario, and I would be interested in knowing Bob's real story. I'm wondering if he was ever involved in a situation where he had to save somebody. and just didn't feel like he could. In his childhood experience, I could see, may I would wonder if any of his children, I mean, any of his parents were had any level of addiction, codependency, if there was any abuse in the home that he witnessed, and maybe he's trying to save mom because it's a maternal exchange. Maybe he's trying to save mom, but just doesn't feel like she's making the effort. Or maybe he sees himself in this. These are the questions that we have to ask, and this is what we set on the table. What's Bob's likely childhood? We're going to skip past that. So that's enough about what about Bob. But these are some of the things that we talked about. What's Bob's likely childhood experience? Oh, that's one thing. Condition is possible conditional love and achievement based on worth from caregivers. Emotionally unavailable caregivers is possible. Critical parents, control in his situation equals safety. So when Bob is under control, then he feels safe. When he doesn't, it seems as though he gets dysregulated. And achievement seems to be a major piece for Bob. Achievement may equal value, but we don't know this. These are some of the things that we would look at. Now, when we look at Joelle on the flip side, man, this time goes by too fast. We look at Joelle on the flip side. What are her presenting problems? We see that from the start, we can see emotional overwhelm and a collapse when confronted. She's just broken down. She may be feeling like she has to over explain herself, and she's having to protest the behavior that she's receiving when she's invalidated. You know what? There are some people that have certain experiences, and see, this is where we're getting down to the piece about seeing the face of trauma right in front of you. Okay, many times the face of trauma comes when we see and hear someone treating us in a way that we have experienced in our past. Okay. And this is what was spelled out actually for Joelle. We don't know about Bob, but when Joelle was being interviewed, there were some things that was said about her, and we want to get into it. Oh my goodness, it's just too much. So we see some problems with Joelle being dysregulated. Why is Joelle so upset and dysregulated? Bob's invalidation, check that out, mirrors past rejection and makes her feel dismissed. Okay. Bob's invalidation. So, validation for Joelle seems to be a significant concern. And she actually ends up talking about this on the Netflix special. Okay. And so I had the group to look at Joelle, right? Let's look at this picture of Joelle if it'll let me enhance it. Let me stop it. Stop the share. Maybe it'll give me some more control here. Um, but I want you to look at this face, okay? I want you to look at the face of Joelle, okay? And tell me what you see. Because all of this happens so fast, you know, and there's some things that could be missed. And if you've done this long enough, you'll recognize that face. If you've had an experience, you'll recognize this face. But look at that face. What do you see in that face? And that's something that I asked my group. I said, you know, what do you, when you're looking in Joelle's face right here, what do you see? And I know for me, right off, I see someone who looks scared and afraid. I see a face of defeat. I see a face of relived trauma, right? I see a face of sadness, maybe some contempt, confusion. What do you see in that face? Okay. And so this is something that we talked about because you know, what would be the scenarios that we would be talking to Bob or Joelle? It just might seem like, oh, it's a talk show. I mean, a reality show. Well, Bob might end up in your office because his job sent him because he blew off on the handle. He was a great guy, but somebody triggered him, upset him, and now he's in your office for anger management because he's in the EAP. They sent him. They said, look, what he did, the way he was talking to the staff, we just can't. So that's how Bob can end up in your office. How about Joelle? Joelle can end up in your office because you know what? I tried my best and things didn't get worked out and I was embarrassed in front of the world. I lost a friend. I still haven't lost the weight that I wanted. I'm still feeling insecure and now I'm feeling like, you know what? Or just it doesn't have to be a competition. It could be a client who is experiencing weight challenges and needing to the motivation because people aren't believing in her. Maybe, there's a connection with morbid obesity and sexual abuse. Maybe there's been some sexual abuse or some folks that, some things that have happened that need a deeper look. So this is how, or you could have a couple, Bob and Joelle could actually be a couple having these fierce exchanges, not knowing exactly how to work things out. So, what I did is I played another video in supervision that we won't be able to get to. But in this video, we see and this is from the Netflix special. Um we see that Joelle says when Bob starts berating me, I like go out of body. That's the I like go out of body. That's the only way. I literally kid you not. I went out of body and everything went really slow motion. And I was like, it brought me back to home. She says, it brought me back to home. I'm there because, at the Biggest Loser, she was there at that competition because I would get crap like that at home and eat. So you cursing me out doesn't help me at all, right? So there it is. Bob's face or actions remind Joelle of her trauma. I can see this being played out, and we want to get to the point where we can see things being played out. When people have these exchanges, it kind of reminds me of what happens in trauma bonding as well. It's well-meaning people that come from very, troubled environments and then they try to make things work but they just don't have the tools to do that. And I think that's what we saw in this exchange for Bob. If we were to if we were to do a treatment plan for Bob or just have him in session, it would be important for us to help Bob to recognize his tones. When you see your tones getting out, this is an indication. This should trigger to you that you know what, I'm going back. I'm being dysregulated. I'm being like that person who talked to me like that because generally we've learned this somewhere, right? We want to teach Bob some ways to effectively communicate. Um, Am I being dysregulated is the questions that we want to have Bob to ask himself. I know Bob, just from what he talked about, that wasn't his proudest moment, right? Okay. And is this a norm in situations like this? Okay. Treatment goals for Bob. Increase empathy and tolerance for others' struggles. We need to shift from control to connection, right? Build emotional regulation skills in high stress interactions. Bob, when you're in a high stress interaction, we've got to help you to not feel like that you're boxed in or that you're losing control of the situation. We want to get you balanced. So there may be some grounding going on there that we teach you some early cues to let me know, okay, I'm starting to get upset. I'm starting to feel it in my body. We'll help them locate where it's in the body, where you feeling that in your body. So when it comes up, we can recognize it. And we want to save him from getting out of breath. Bob was out of breath at one point because he was so upset about this situation. Challenge his core beliefs, tying worth to performance, if that's a concern. This is random and it doesn't really apply to these individuals. Now, here's some test questions. Okay. So this is really important. I got to go through this. It's going to be long again. Okay. I got to go through this. These are some good test questions right here. So, here's a client scenario. A client shares the following in session. When Bob starts berating me, I go out of body. Everything went into slow motion. Okay, I should have took that number out. It brought me back to home. I would get stuff like that at home. Which of the following is the most likely phenomenon that the client is experiencing? A, hypervigilance, B, dissociation, C, panic attack with derealization, D, psychotic disorganization. And of course, the answer for this one is going to be B. But then we don't really know that, do we? So if you didn't know, how would you find out if she was experiencing dissociative features? Like, and if she was experiencing dissociation, this is likely not just what she got as far as the conversation she's talking about with somebody yelling at her at home. It could bring about dissociation if it was intense enough, but it's also likely that she experienced some other level of trauma that might need to be found out. Okay. So she says, I literally kid you not. I went out of body. Everything went really slow. It brought me back to home. And we're kind of repeating the same thing, right? She got that at home. So, as a clinician, what would be the most appropriate assessment step to determine if the client is experiencing dissociation? Well, we want to ask, all right, let me, sorry. A, ask about childhood trauma and family dynamics only. B, administer a structured tool such as a dissociative, a DES scale. Explore if the client has experienced psychotic breaks or hallucinations. Or D, assess sleep hygiene and circadian rhythm disruptions. Answer for this one is going to be the dissociative scale. This will help us to be able to identify if it's truly dissociation that Joelle is experiencing. Okay. And then we have some treatment goals for Joelle that we want to help her with. She came to our office. Strengthen internal self validation and reduce dependency on external approval. External approval is possibly what got her to the point of obesity. External approval is what puts her in a place where she feels that she has to please others, or maybe overly explain herself. This was back then, okay, possibly. Build distress tolerance in invalidating contexts. So if somebody's coming at you harsh, and this is for both of them, we need to help them to develop distress tolerance interventions so that they don't flip off the handle and don't allow themselves to be dysregulated by others. This could be done through DBT or grounding skills. Reprocess early rejection. Man, that face, somebody rejected her. And like she said, I started to go back. She's somewhere else, possibly. She's probably not even grounded to the situation after hearing the sounds, after hearing the aggression that she experienced from Bob. She's probably thrown back. So that hasn't been worked out. So that's going to be a part of therapy, is trying to help her to work out these concerns and trying to see if this is still a part of impacting her in her daily relationships now. Are things able to trigger you like that or make you feel insecure to the point till you do start to dissociate? What's the last time when you dissociated? How many times? What's been your history of dissociation if we find out that that's the case? We want to reprocess early rejection wounds and practice empowerment, and teach her concise communication. So, self esteem building, working through past trauma is going to be a big part of the treatment plan. This is some of what we talked about. I've gone way over. We're going to try to end it here, but I do want to make you aware of a training that we have coming up. We have a continuing education training coming up very soon, and let me see if I can highlight that. Yes, here we go. Um, let's see. We will be having a continue. Oh, I'm sharing my whole screen. Um, we will be having a continuing education, a free CEU on next month that we want everybody to attend. And I may not be able to show you, but we're going to have a free continuing education on next month on the 16th. And the subject will be the ABCs of self care for caregivers. That's Tuesday, September the 16th. And we're hoping that you can join us. And as usual, we also have the DSM 5 TR disrupted, I'm sorry. This is a self-paced for any of you all that's looking for continuing education and our LICSWs. This is these types of training are required if you have a LICSW. And then we have also the social work supervisor training coming up in November. We're hoping you can join. I'm going to cut it off from here, and we'll meet with you again on next week. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.